Hi, it's Chrisibel again. I run Vero and I study how people actually make decisions at work so that companies can hire and grow people for how they show up, not just what's on their resume. And so, if you're responsible for people and performance, this is for you. In my last video, I shared a bit more about myself and my story and this idea of lived capital, which is the value that we build through what we've lived and how that shapes our decisions, especially when we're under pressure. And so today, I want to talk about something a lot of us are feeling, but don't always have the language for. And that's what's actually broken in hiring and performance right now for companies and for people who are trying to build a career in an AI shaped job market. So, if you're running stores, warehouses, clinics, schools, you're probably living some version of this right now. You roll out the same training across locations. You implement the same systems, the same dashboards. You hire people with similar resumes. And so on paper, everything should be consistent. But on the ground, the truth is that it's just not. One store feels calm, the lines move, people help each other. And then another store with the same brand, the same training, and identical people on paper completely feels on fire. You're constantly reposting the same job post every few months. Your best managers are tired of training people that they know are just going to end up leaving. And you're hearing some version of we just can't find good people. So you invest in more tools like resume screeners, structured interviews, maybe even AI that ranks candidates for you. But if we're honest, the lived reality often doesn't change that much. You still have some locations that feel different, some teams that act different, and you just can't fully explain why. Now, on the other side of the table, if you're a job seeker or someone that's trying to stay competitive in an AI shaped economy, well, it doesn't really feel that great for you either. You're told update your resume with these keywords. Use this AI tool to help you write a better cover letter. Practice these 50 interview questions so that you'll show up more confident. And so you do all of that, and then you just hit a wall of automated rejections, no feedback, or offers for roles that just don't match what you are truly capable of. And so maybe you've translated for your parents your whole life, or you've managed a household, or you've led teams informally at work, and none of it seems to count in systems that decide who gets a shot. And so every day you're watching AI get better at producing answers while you're just trying to prove that your judgment and your lived experience are still valuable. So there's a story beneath all of this, and I think it's really dangerous. And it goes something like this: if you're an employer, talent isn't out there. If you're a candidate, you're just not good enough. So go get another certificate. And if you're paying attention to AI, there's a quiet third line that's creeping in. If you're not technical enough, you're going to get replaced. And I don't buy that story. I don't think that we have a no good people problem. I know that we have a visibility and prediction problem. We are quite frankly using tools that were built for a completely different era. Resumes, degrees, 30-minute interviews, and now AI filters on top of all of that. They're all trying to predict something that they cannot actually see, which is how someone decides and behaves in real, messy, pressured situations. So, when you strip it all down, here's what's really broken. We're making high stakes decisions about people, and we're not measuring the thing that actually matters the most for them, which is how they make decisions in context and the quality of those decisions. So, I want you to think about a couple of examples. Think of a cashier. Their job is not just to scan items. They're constantly deciding things like which lanes to keep open, how to deal with customers that are frustrated, when they should call in a manager, or how to spot a potential theft without profiling people. A warehouse worker, they're not just moving boxes, they're making decisions about whether to rush or slow down, about whether when to report a safety issue, and how to prioritize when three urgent tasks are literally hitting them all at one time. A nurse isn't just simply following protocol. They have to decide what patients that they must serve first, whether something that looks minor might actually be more serious, and even how to communicate with families that are under enormous amounts of stress. And so these micro decisions about how people choose, how they adapt, and how they respond are what actually drive customer experience, safety, throughput, turnover, and ultimately profitability. But still, our systems barely measure any of that. They measure static things like the school that you went to, or what you wrote on your resume, or how you performed on a highly scripted interview, which, let's be honest, sometimes AI was feeding you the right answers on the screen. So, when we add AI on top of all of this, you can see how complicated things get really quickly. On the company side, AI can scan through thousands of applications. But if all of those applications look the same, then you're just rejecting people faster. On the individual side, AI can help you write the most beautiful cover letter, but so can everyone else. And so the playing field actually becomes a lot noisier and it doesn't become more productive or more fair. And so AI becomes really good at producing content about you, but still not great at revealing the truth of you, how you decide, how you learn, how you adapt, how you show up when things are messy. And so that's what I mean when I say that we're living in an economy where tasks are being automated faster than we can reskill. But judgment and lived experience are the scarcest assets. And right now, our hiring systems don't know how to properly see or value this asset. So, if you are a leader who feels stuck, if you're a worker that feels like you are overlooked, I want you to hear this and I want you to hear this clearly. You are not crazy. The systems we're using were never meant or built to see what matters most. We don't need more generic resumes or more AI coached interview questions. We need better ways to see and measure how people make decisions, what they've actually lived through, and how it shows up when it's time to perform. And this is the gap personally that I am obsessed with. And that's what I'm building at Vero. And so, in our next video, I am going to take you out of theory land and into the real world. We are going to be using Vero's model to run the numbers for a real store. Then I'm going to go on site and I'm going to see what's actually happening on the ground. And so we'll look at what changes when companies stop asking who has the prettiest resume and they start asking a much more important question, which is who has the lived experience and the decision patterns that actually fit this specific environment, this one store with its real customers, real constraints, and of course, real trade offs. So, guys, if any of this has landed for you, whether you run teams or you're trying to build a career that's not going to get automated away, I would love to know what is one way that you've seen our current hiring system fail. This could be anything from a bad hire or a great candidate that was rejected for a role, or a time that you just felt that the tools you were using just didn't see you or your company in an accurate light. So please drop it in the comment section, write it down for yourself, because these are the stories that I want to honor and the problems that I want to help you guys solve. And so in the next video, we'll get concrete with real data from the field. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you there.